Have you ever felt manipulated, outsmarted, or mentally cornered by others? Perhaps by colleagues, friends, or even those closest to you? The harsh truth is that most people live their lives as puppets, their thoughts dictated by external influence. Today, we solve that problem. By mastering one brain hack, you will gain a mind that cannot be controlled, a mind that sees through deception, and a mind that can think 10 times faster than the average. Imagine a world where every word spoken to you, every plan plotted against you, and every influence imposed upon you fails to sway your mind. Where you move through life not as a pawn, but as the player, orchestrating events, predicting actions, and acting with precision. Today, we uncover the secret that transforms ordinary minds into instruments of unstoppable power. This is the study of intellectual sovereignty, the kind that makes you 10 times smarter and utterly uncontrollable. Power is often mistaken for wealth, influence, or physical dominance. Yet the true dominion in any society, past or present, lies in the mind. Those who control the intellect possess a fortress that cannot be breached by others. Consider the leaders who have shaped history, not those with the largest armies, but those whose minds were keen, their strategies precise, and their understanding of human nature unparalleled. They were not merely clever, they were sovereign over their own thoughts, and this sovereignty rendered them immune to the manipulations of their peers, adversaries, and even friends. The ordinary individual drifts through life, his thoughts swayed by circumstance, emotion, and persuasion. He is a leaf on the wind, tossed by forces he cannot even perceive. Every conversation, every subtle gesture, every fleeting glance from another carries the potential to manipulate him. Yet those who govern their minds are not swayed. Their intellect is a shield against deception, a barrier against influence, and a blade against those who attempt to dominate them. To achieve such mastery, one must first understand the terrain of the mind. The human intellect is both a weapon and a vulnerability. Left untrained, it absorbs external influence like a sponge, welcoming control under the guise of guidance, persuasion, or companionship. But when one begins to observe the workings of thought itself, its biases, its patterns, its blind spots, the mind becomes a domain over which one rules with precision. This is the beginning of intellectual sovereignty. History provides countless examples. Consider the leaders who survived assassination attempts, political betrayals, and revolutions. What was their secret? They were not immune to emotion or fear, but they were sovereign over their decisions, over the analysis of information, and over the perception of truth. They dissected every whisper of influence, evaluated every possibility, and acted only when their intellect had commanded certainty. This ability cannot be bought, nor inherited, nor granted by title. It is forged in the crucible of disciplined thought, reflection, and deliberate self-awareness. Intellectual sovereignty begins with the rejection of mental slavery. One must recognize that the majority of humans are driven by instinct, habit, and the invisible strings of others' expectations. To live unconsciously is to live under the control of those who understand the mind. Friends, family, teachers, colleagues, and leaders can all impose subtle pressures that mold decisions without your awareness. This is not a moral failing, it is human nature. Yet if one does not fight for mastery over one's own mind, one remains perpetually subject to manipulation. Sovereignty is a battle, and the battlefield is the intellect. The pursuit of self-mastery requires a rigorous examination of thought. Every opinion must be questioned, every desire analyzed, and every reaction observed. The mind must be trained to see not only what is presented on the surface, but also the hidden motives, the unspoken agendas, and the subtle patterns of influence that shape human interaction. This is not a task of convenience, it is a task of survival. For those who fail to understand the forces acting upon their own thoughts will find themselves the instrument of others, acting with conviction, but serving no purpose but that of another. One must also recognize that intellectual sovereignty is inherently lonely. The path of the self-governing mind is not one of popular approval. Those who are ruled by external influences often resist the independence of thought because it challenges their own control and exposes their vulnerabilities. A sovereign mind must therefore embrace solitude, for it is in reflection, observation, and quiet analysis that true mastery of thought is achieved. Surrounding oneself with voices that reinforce independent reasoning rather than opinions that seek to manipulate is essential. Moreover, sovereignty of the intellect demands an understanding of timing, strategy, and influence. It is not enough to think clearly, one must also anticipate the actions of others, perceive hidden intentions, and calculate consequences with precision. The individual who masters thought can navigate chaos with foresight, avoid deception, and act decisively, while others hesitate in confusion. Such a person becomes unpredictable, and unpredictability is the armor that renders manipulation impossible. Once the mind is free, all external attempts to control it become futile, for the individual sees the world through clarity rather than illusion. The exercise of intellectual sovereignty is not a passive defense, but an active engagement with life. It requires a continuous sharpening of reasoning, the cultivation of curiosity, and the relentless pursuit of knowledge. One must read, observe, question, and reflect constantly. Every experience becomes a lesson, every encounter an opportunity to understand the mechanics of influence. The sovereign mind grows stronger, not through the acquisition of power over others, but through command over itself. Finally, it must be understood that intellectual sovereignty is a form of freedom unlike any other. The body may be constrained, the wealth may fluctuate, and alliances may shift, yet the mind that governs itself remains unconquerable. In this state, a person is neither slave nor subject. The individual becomes the architect of their own destiny, able to navigate the complexities of society with skill and precision, immune to the subtle manipulations that entangle ordinary men. The mastery of thought transforms not only strategy and perception, but the very essence of human experience, elevating the individual above the ordinary and placing them in a position of unassailable advantage. The human mind is not a passive organ, it is a battlefield. Ideas clash, impulses compete, and perceptions are constantly manipulated by forces beyond conscious awareness. Yet within this complexity lies an opportunity, a method to seize control, sharpen intellect, and accelerate thought to a level that seems almost unnatural. This is the brain hack that transforms ordinary reasoning into the precision of a strategist, the foresight of a ruler, and the unpredictability of a force impossible to contain. At its core, the brain operates in patterns. Every decision, every reaction, every impulse is part of an intricate circuitry shaped by experience, emotion, and habit. Most individuals remain confined to these default patterns, their thinking predictable, their behavior manipulable. They are easy prey for those who understand the mechanics of influence. But for the one who learns to rewrite these circuits, the mind becomes a weapon. This is not speculation, it is strategy applied to cognition. The brain hack is the deliberate construction of a mind that anticipates, calculates, and acts with intelligence beyond ordinary reach. The first principle of this transformation is awareness. One must observe the mind as a separate entity, noting how it reacts to information, to social cues, and to internal impulses. Awareness exposes the automatic processes that govern behavior. Most people are blind to these patterns. They respond to fear, desire, and expectation without question. A mind trained in this discipline sees these patterns and begins to disrupt them deliberately. It is in the act of observing thought that one gains the first spark of sovereignty, for awareness is the doorway to control. Once awareness is achieved, the next step is deliberate restructuring. This is where the brain hack takes root. One begins to introduce new cognitive pathways, training the mind to analyze situations from multiple perspectives, to recognize patterns where others see chaos, and to anticipate outcomes before they manifest. Memory exercises, mental simulations, strategic games, and the study of human behavior all serve to rewire the brain, creating networks of thought that operate faster, more accurately, and with greater foresight. The goal is not mere intelligence, but intelligence applied strategically, a mental architecture designed to outmaneuver, outthink, and outlast any adversary. But intelligence alone is insufficient. The brain hack must integrate with understanding human nature, for the ultimate power of thought lies in anticipating the intentions and weaknesses of others. Every interaction becomes a test of prediction, every observation a piece of a larger puzzle. By recognizing the motivations behind words, gestures, and decisions, the individual equipped with this cognitive architecture perceives threats and opportunities that remain invisible to ordinary minds. The brain becomes a lens through which reality is examined with clarity and precision, a lens that exposes deception and illuminates strategy. This process requires rigorous discipline. Mental exercises must be repeated until thought patterns become instinctive, until the mind itself anticipates solutions before the conscious self is aware. This is not a task for the lazy or distracted. It is a path of relentless training, akin to a warrior forging reflexes that allow him to react before danger is fully understood. Through repeated practice, the mind becomes faster, sharper, and more adaptable, capable of perceiving nuances, predicting outcomes, and devising strategies in real time. This is the essence of the brain hack, the deliberate acceleration and enhancement of cognition to a level beyond ordinary comprehension. Moreover, the brain hack involves the mastery of decision-making under uncertainty. The human mind is often paralyzed by doubt, by fear of error, or by the desire for consensus. The cognitively sovereign individual learns to navigate ambiguity with confidence. By running mental simulations, weighing consequences, and anticipating multiple scenarios simultaneously, decision-making becomes a calculated act rather than a reaction. The mind, rewired through deliberate practice, moves swiftly where others hesitate, turning hesitation into advantage and indecision into weakness in others. Another critical element is the manipulation of attention. Focus is a finite resource, yet most allow it to be hijacked by distractions, emotions, or the agendas of others. The brain hack trains attention like a blade, directing it toward what is essential, filtering out the noise, and maintaining clarity even in chaos. This mastery of focus allows the individual to absorb knowledge, detect patterns, and synthesize complex information at a rate that overwhelms ordinary perception. When the mind is focused with intention, it becomes not only faster, but also more accurate, producing insight that appears almost prescient. Finally, this rewiring extends to creativity and problem-solving. The cognitively sovereign mind does not simply follow known paths. It generates new strategies, forges unconventional solutions, and manipulates circumstances with ingenuity. By combining rapid analysis with imaginative projection, the individual becomes capable of maneuvering in environments that confound ordinary thought. The brain hack creates a mind that is not only smarter, but also unpredictable, unbounded by the conventional constraints that allow manipulation to succeed. It is in this fusion of enhanced reasoning, foresight, and creative problem-solving that one achieves a level of intelligence that is not merely superior, but impossible to control. Emotions are the invisible chains that bind the mind, the silent strings by which others control thought and action. Anger, fear, desire, and hope are not mere experiences. They are levers wielded by those who understand human weakness. Those who allow themselves to be ruled by emotion surrender the sovereignty of their mind, becoming predictable, manipulable, and ultimately powerless. Yet there exists a path to liberation. The mastery of emotional detachment, a weapon as potent as any army or treasury, capable of rendering the individual impossible to control. To understand the power of detachment, one must first observe the nature of emotion itself. Emotions are responses to external stimuli, yet they are amplified and distorted by the mind's own narratives. Fear exaggerates threats, desire inflates the importance of pleasure, and anger clouds judgment with the illusion of justice. Most people are unaware of these distortions. They act as though emotion is reality itself. The result is a life lived in reaction rather than strategy, a life dictated by the impulses and manipulations of others. To detach is not to suppress emotion, but to see it clearly, to understand its origin, its influence, and its limitations, and to prevent it from dictating action. The sovereign mind treats emotion as data rather than command. Every feeling is analyzed, categorized, and weighed for its relevance to the decision at hand. Anger, for instance, may reveal an injustice that requires attention, but it does not dictate how one will respond. Fear may indicate risk, yet it does not paralyze. Desire may illuminate motivation, yet it does not enslave. By observing emotion without succumbing to it, the individual achieves clarity of thought, free from the distortions that compromise judgment and invite manipulation. Detachment also allows the mind to anticipate the emotional strategies of others. Humans are driven by emotion, and those who seek influence exploit it. A colleague may appeal to vanity to control action. A friend may manipulate guilt to sway decision. A competitor may provoke anger to cloud judgment. Those who remain entangled in these emotional currents are easily ensnared, reacting predictably and revealing their weaknesses. The emotionally detached individual, however, sees these strategies with precision, remaining unaffected while others fall into traps. Awareness becomes armor, and calm observation becomes a weapon that others cannot comprehend. This detachment is cultivated through disciplined practice. It begins with self-reflection, observing one's own responses to stimulus and identifying the patterns by which emotion seeks to dominate thought. Meditation, journaling, and deliberate analysis of past reactions sharpen this ability. By repeatedly examining how desire, fear, and anger influence decision-making, the mind learns to intervene in the process, to pause, reflect, and act according to reason rather than impulse. Over time, this becomes instinctive, transforming the individual into a fortress of mental stability, unshaken by provocation or flattery. Furthermore, emotional detachment enhances strategic decision-making in high-stakes situations. When others are clouded by fear, panic, or overconfidence, the detached mind perceives opportunity and risk with clarity. Wars are won, deals are sealed, and fortunes are made not by emotion, but by the calm calculation of consequences. The individual who masters this skill becomes unpredictable and formidable, capable of exploiting the weaknesses of those whose minds remain captive to emotion. In a world where most people act according to feelings, detachment is a form of invisibility and invincibility, a shield that repels manipulation and a blade that strikes where others falter. Yet detachment does not require the rejection of all connection or the abandonment of human experience. On the contrary, understanding emotion, both one's own and that of others, is essential to its mastery. The detached mind observes love without being enslaved, ambition without being blinded, and fear without being paralyzed. By seeing emotion for what it is, rather than allowing it to dictate reality, one gains the ability to interact with the world while remaining free from its control. One can inspire, negotiate, and influence others precisely because one is not influenced in return. Power flows to those who are steady, who act from clarity rather than reaction, and who wield emotional intelligence without being bound by it. In practice, the emotionally detached individual appears calm, measured, and inscrutable. Their responses are deliberate, their expressions controlled, and their decisions unshakable. Others may attempt provocation, appeal to sympathy, or exploit fear, but the detached mind does not bend. This creates a reputation of unpredictability and strength. When a mind cannot be swayed, the individual becomes a force that is impossible to manipulate, for no subtle threat, emotional appeal, or strategic deception can penetrate the barrier of disciplined detachment. Emotional mastery also fosters resilience. Life is rife with betrayal, disappointment, and loss. Those who react impulsively to these events are thrown into chaos, giving others an advantage. The detached mind, however, absorbs shocks without losing equilibrium. Pain is acknowledged but not allowed to control, setbacks are assessed without despair, and the mind remains focused on strategy rather than distraction. This resilience compounds intelligence with endurance, creating an individual who is both insightful and unassailable. In a world of constant change, rigidity is the path to ruin. Those who cling to certainty, who rely on habit and convention, are swiftly outmaneuvered by forces that anticipate, innovate, and exploit. Intelligence, by itself, is a tool, but strategic adaptability transforms intellect into an instrument of both defense and offense. The individual who can adapt their thinking, tactics, and perception in response to shifting circumstances becomes not only unpredictable but untouchable. A mind that bends but does not break, strikes but is never struck. The foundation of strategic adaptability is awareness, the ability to perceive the subtle movements of society, the hidden intentions of individuals, and the patterns that underlie apparent chaos. Ordinary minds see events as isolated incidents. The adaptable mind perceives them as interconnected threads in a grander design. Every action, every decision, every minor fluctuation carries information about the environment and the players within it. By noticing these patterns and adjusting accordingly, the strategically adaptable individual turns uncertainty into opportunity, using intelligence not as a static measure of knowledge, but as a living, flexible instrument capable of shaping outcomes. Adaptability begins with humility. The greatest minds understand that no strategy, no plan, and no insight is permanent. Those who assume that their way is immutable fall prey to the unpredictable and the unforeseen.
Thinkers embrace impermanence. They test their assumptions, update their beliefs,
And modify their actions in response to new evidence. This willingness to change does not signify weakness, it is strength in motion. By remaining flexible, the mind maintains superiority over those who are rigid, who act from habit, and who are slow to perceive the evolving dynamics around them. Yet adaptability is more than reacting, it is anticipating. A mind trained in strategic foresight does not simply respond to events, it predicts them. By understanding human behavior, historical precedent, and the mechanics of influence, the adaptable individual calculates likely outcomes before they occur. This predictive capacity allows the mind to move preemptively, to position itself advantageously, and to exploit situations that others fail to see. The essence of strategic adaptability lies in this anticipatory intelligence, the ability to perceive the invisible currents that guide society, commerce, and human interaction, and to ride those currents rather than be swept away by them. Crucially, adaptability is not solely a defensive posture, it is also an offensive weapon. Intelligence, when applied flexibly, allows one to strike where others are unprepared, to exploit weaknesses as they reveal themselves, and to shift tactics at will. Competitors, manipulators, and adversaries are disoriented by a mind that does not adhere to predictable patterns, that anticipates moves before they are made, and that responds with creativity and precision. Strategic adaptability renders control by others futile, because it undermines the assumptions on which manipulation relies. The unpredictable mind becomes invincible because it cannot be anticipated or constrained. The development of strategic adaptability requires constant refinement. Observation alone is insufficient. One must practice flexibility in thinking and action. Mental simulations, scenario planning, and role reversal exercises train the mind to respond fluidly to a spectrum of possibilities. Every encounter is a laboratory. every challenge a test of ingenuity, and every mistake an opportunity to adjust and improve. Over time, this practice conditions the mind to respond not merely with knowledge, but with wisdom and agility, creating a form of intelligence that is alive, dynamic, and resilient. Adaptability also demands mastery of timing. Action taken too early can be wasted. Action too late can be destructive. The strategically intelligent individual knows not only what to do, but when to do it, balancing patience with decisiveness. This temporal precision amplifies the effectiveness of intelligence, converting insight into tangible advantage. By synchronizing thought, action, and circumstance, one achieves results that seem effortless, leaving observers astonished by the apparent foresight and control. Timing, in this sense, is the bridge between understanding and influence, between intelligence and power. Moreover, adaptability requires emotional discipline, for flexibility of strategy must be coupled with stability of mind. Rapid change can overwhelm those who are tethered to emotional reactions or rigid beliefs. The adaptable mind integrates the principles of emotional detachment, using calm observation to guide shifts in strategy. Decisions are made from clarity, not impulse. Tactics are adjusted without fear or hesitation. In this union of intellect and composure, strategic adaptability becomes both a shield against manipulation and a sword to shape reality according to one's design. Finally, the power of adaptability is compounded when combined with the other elements of cognitive mastery, intellectual sovereignty, brain rewiring, and emotional detachment. Together, these faculties create a mind that is not only intelligent, but unstoppable. It can perceive opportunity before others, respond to threats before they manifest, and remain immune to attempts at control. Strategic adaptability ensures that intelligence is not static, but alive, capable of moving with precision, striking with foresight, and defending with invincibility. Now that we have traversed the path of intellectual sovereignty, explored the brain hack that rewires thought, mastered emotional detachment, and embraced strategic adaptability, one truth stands undeniable: the mind is the ultimate weapon. Power is not in wealth, armies, or titles. It resides in the ability to govern oneself with clarity, foresight, and precision. Those who command their own cognition cannot be manipulated, cannot be controlled, and cannot be predicted. They are the rulers of circumstance, the architects of outcomes, and the masters of human interaction. The ordinary mind is a prisoner of habit, influence, and emotion. It bends to external pressures, reacts to threats, and becomes entangled in the desires of others. But the sovereign mind sees all, understands all, and anticipates all. It is a fortress against deception, a blade against weakness, and a compass through uncertainty. By mastering thought, enhancing cognition, detaching from emotional control, and adapting strategically, one transforms intelligence into a force that moves with both subtlety and overwhelming impact. This is the path of the uncontrollable. It is not easy, and it is not for those who seek comfort or approval. It demands discipline, reflection, and the relentless pursuit of understanding. It requires patience in observation, rigor in practice, and courage in action. Yet for those who undertake it, the rewards are extraordinary. A mind that cannot be swayed, a presence that cannot be undermined, and a life that is directed by design rather than by circumstance. In essence, to master these principles is to ascend beyond the ordinary bounds of human experience. You become a strategist in thought, a tactician in action, and a sovereign in spirit. The world may attempt to influence you, manipulate you, and confine you, but you have learned the art of independence, the science of mental dominance, and the strategy of invincibility. The individual who follows this path is not merely intelligent. They are untouchable, unstoppable, and unknowable, a force of intellect that commands respect, inspires fear, and moves freely in a world ruled by the predictable and the pliable.